Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. BJ on game day. NRL Supercoach back again for another week. As always, you're joined by Bogan and myself. Bogan, how are you, mate?
Oh, yeah, I'm all right. Well, considering yourself.
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. It's coming. The season's coming to an end. It's gone pretty quickly. Actually, sad. Round 22 in review, round 23 in preview. So just the 3 weeks left before the NRL season wraps up and we jump into the finals. Mate, how'd you go last week? You want to mention it or not?
Oh, I haven't even looked, to be honest. I did, no, I'm not. I'm not in the finals for anything. I'm about 100,000th overall. Um, yeah, not. Yeah,
Beautiful,
that's it. Game over, mate. Let's do the show.
beautiful,
Just
beautiful.
riding out the show.
Yeah, no,
A 1,300 or something, I think I got, which I was shocked by because I didn't look at my team at all.
it's a bit of a 900 nowadays at the moment. The 1300s, yeah, it's insane. I scored a 1330 bogues with 16 players, so it wasn't a bad score with 16 players, but fell down about 1,000 spots in the ranks, so blown back out to 11, nearly 11.5k overall. Just can't move or shake. Just cannot kick into that top, 10k even. So the stinker continues, and yeah, 3 weeks to go. I think at this point, if I can just get into a 4-digit ranking, I'll take it. But anyway, big weekend of Supercoach and big scores across the board, as you said. Like a 1,300 wasn't too massive. Um, some big scorers over the weekend, which we'll get to as well. And mm, yeah, again, Tommy Turbo was blown up, and some of those Manly boys absolutely giving it to the Eels. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Only a few on at the moment. Evening, Benny. How are you? Anyone else? Any of the regulars? How you going? If you're new at this point, I doubt that you'd be new, but welcome. Uh,
Shout out to Josh King who took less than a week to flake out on his pledge to see the season out. He's at home probably playing Fortnite again. For those who didn't see the stream over the weekend.
I'll shout out to the King. Evening, buddy. If you're watching wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hope you're well, mate. Yeah, but as I said, Bogues, it was a pretty high scoring round. Team list today have thrown up a few interesting ones again as well as we sort of run for the run home, and a lot of head-to-head finals. Obviously, getting to the pointy end with I think from here on in it'll pretty much be KO finals in whether you're playing classic head-to-head or draft. It's all pretty much straight knockout from here. So this is now when it counts, and I think I'll be focusing on whatever else I'm left in, which wouldn't be much, and probably draft. So yeah. Jumping in, I think we can get straight into it, boys. Have a look back at round 22. And the first game of the round was
Melbourne versus Canberra.
Melbourne versus Canberra, and I cannot see anything on that screen, so I will be using the YouTube view. Yep, so it was a pretty close one in the end. I think Melbourne ran away early. I think it was 18-0, 18-6, whatever it was, quite early on. And the Raiders fought their way back into it, but Melbourne just managed to get the job done. I guess just doing as they always do. It wasn't their most clinical performance you've ever seen, but they just got the job done. Did enough to win the game. Brennan Smith top scored with an 82. He scored a try. Darina Meyer, I think, scored a double. Nico Hines, solid again. Cam Munster, I mean, there weren't any massive scores in the Melbourne game, in the Melbourne side rather, and there's probably plenty of people hoping that, that the Storm would put a score on the Raiders here and maybe a nice VC option, but nothing too crazy on the Melbourne side of the park. You also had a pretty solid injury out of this one, or a big shot on Jerome Hughes, and he'll be out this week as well from CHN, which is pretty big. Raiders side of the park, as I said, they were pretty good. Bailey Simonson, I think, scored a hat-trick, if I'm not mistaken, 106 there. Hudson Young was good. Jack Whiten probably had his best game of the season as well. And, I mean, like I said, the Raiders put in a pretty good performance considering, but, Melbourne just doing what they got to do to get the job done. Folks. Evening, JP, and yep, Benny, you did knock me out. I had 16 players, you filthy animal. Ados, how are we, brother? Good evening. Next game, it was Penrith and St. George. Again, another game, probably a lot of people were expecting the Penrith to put on a heap of points, Bogues, and they probably did in the end by the end of it, but again, it wasn't anything overly convincing. 34-16 over the Dragons there. Nathan Cleary did return. He was a late-ish sort of inclusion and pretty solid on return with an 82. I think he got a late try assist in there as well, which sort of bumped his score. Gangbusters, he might have finished around.
Thanks for pointing that out, JP. I'll fix that immediately.
About 40 or 50, and then the late try assist, I think, for the Momirovski try sort of bumped him up, got that 30 points with his goals. So, yeah, that was pretty good return for Cleary. For anyone that held Cleary, you'd be happy about that, and hopefully he keeps onwards and upwards, ends up being a nice pod for the run home. He also got off, I think, a charge or at least one charge with a fine, so it was a bit dubious there. There was plenty of people calling for blood with the shoulder charge from Cleary. I thought there was a couple blatant ones, but anyway, it's all said and done. Burton was pretty good as well. I actually thought Burton was in line for a big score based on the way he played. I'm surprised it only turned into a 71. I don't know whether he was a bit tough on some of the scoring, but I thought he was brilliant for Penrith. On the Dragons side of the park, it was Rava Lawa who top scored with an 83. He scored a double, and Amoni looked unreal as well, Bogues. He came on. I don't know exactly when he came on, but he came on and looked electric. He scored a try, set one up, I think, and looks a brilliant young footy player. Really looking forward to see how he goes next year. Hopefully he gets a run. I imagine they'll let go of Corey Norman, and you might see this young fella starting in the halves. Got a bit of competition there with Jaden Sullivan, but he looked really good. Jackie Bird was pretty good at fullback as well, and also Lomax looked dangerous. I think Lomax is going to be one on the radar for next year as well. Hopefully he doesn't finish the year with too many monsters and he isn't too expensive to start next year. Next up, it was the Roosters barely getting home against the Broncos. You know, I'd never say the Broncos were robbed, but there was plenty of dubious refereeing decisions in this one. Teddy was back to his best top score in the 99 there. He's looking really good in the last couple of weeks, old Teddy. Plenty of owners will be happy about the way he's going at the moment. Papenhausen top scored for the Bronx with an 84. I think he had a couple of line breaks in there, but the big fella, just with the motor and any of those extra attacking stats he finds, obviously boosts his score pretty good. I had a fair few Roosters boys, Bogues, and these boys hurt me this week. I expected or I hoped they'd put a few tries on the Brisbane side and maybe do a bit of damage, but I had guys like Sammy Walker, Daniel Tupu, Satili Tupanua, so they really hurt this week. Talking to Benny as well, they were three pretty big pods I had against him, and literally all three of them flopped, so that was no good for me. Takiaho was pretty good. Copley was quite good as well before he got knocked out with the HIA. But Brisbane were far improved. I mean, you could argue they probably were a little bit not robbed. The penalty right at the end that cost them the win was pretty soft. It was a high shot. There was contact with the head, but there was really nothing in it. But by the letter of the law, it was contact with the head, the face, and once it went upstairs, it had to be given. I think it was also a bit dubious how they were able to review that part of the play after it was a lost ball in the play of the ball. But anyway, it's all said and done. In the books, the Roosters get the win over the Broncos, but one bloke that actually really stood out to me that I hadn't really taken much notice prior to this was Cobbo, Bogues. He looks like a carbon copy of Latrell.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Obviously not as
just being racist there, or?
Not at all. He just looks. I think he's going to be a big one for the future. Cobbo. He looked really good at times. I'll be paying a much closer attention to the young bloke moving forward as well. And shout out to Anthony Milford, who made a bit of a return off the bench and bumped out a bumper score of 16 there. So, onto the Saturday. Yeah, it also was a bit of a rort. Oh, pardon me. It was your boys giving the sausage to the Titans, Bogues. Big Cody and Latrell, absolutely running muck out there. 121 for Cody and 115 for Latrell, but again, it's that left edge doing all the damage, really. Burns and Mansour out there as well.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
look,
you
I
what,
think
that arse whooping that the Rabbitohs copped from the Storm would have been a few months ago now. It's really done them well because they've been on fire ever since then.
yeah, really, really interested to see the Rabbitohs go into this final series. I think realistically, there's only 4 teams this year that can win it. It's Penrith, Melbourne, Rabbits, or Manly. I think Melbourne are probably a cut above at the moment, but it'll be really interesting to see how these boys and Manly, obviously, as long as Turbo's there, and Penrith now
Well,
that.
Those homies will go on fucking holidays before finals.
Yeah, so look, they were really good. I think it was 24-0 at half time or something. So I guess they sort of took the foot off a little bit in that second half, but plenty of points out there for them. Yeah, Titan side of the park, real disappointing. Obviously, they've been looking good over the last couple of weeks as well, but just came up against like probably a genuine premiership contender and just sort of got shown a little bit of class on the way. Brian Kelly top score with a 99. Thompson, bit of junk towards the end there with a try with 73. Fifi off the bench, like dead set. I reckon Holbrook's lunatic playing Fifi. He didn't bring him on after about 30 minutes or something like that. So, that's real disappointing. He has been named to start this week. Hopefully he gets the start, but against Melbourne, which is an awkward one. But I think he came on and it was 12-0 and half an hour elapsed. So I understand he can be a little bit lazy at times and that sort of thing, but he's by far and away their biggest attacking weapon. You can't leave a bloke out of the game for that long just based on, he changes the game with one run. But anyway, we'll see what happens. What else is doing there? Not much, really. Cam Murray, a little bit quiet. Damien Cook, pretty solid. But apart from that, not much else doing out there.
Yeah, fuck the Titans.
The next game on the Saturday was the Cows and the Tigers. The Tigers got there again. It wasn't a pretty game. It wasn't the prettiest game of footy you've ever watched. I guess it was a good contest, but it was the Tigers that got it done, running out 24-16. Dewey top score with a 99, so that was pretty good for Dewey owners like myself. Happy with that. Big Stefano scored a try as well with 82 there. I think he ended up going back on. He was on like 50 or 60 pretty quickly and then ended up not playing most of the end of the game, to be honest, which was interesting. Marmelo, 12, Talau, all pretty top, decent scores there. Cuzzy top scored for the Cows with a 78. Reece Robson, 64. Val Holmes, not bad on return, nothing special with a 53. But yeah, again, I don't think at this point of the year there's many Cowboys you'd be having in your classic team, apart from Val now that he's back, and obviously no Lolo, who hasn't been setting the world on fire. But plenty of guys on that Tiger side that would be relevant, just because of their draw that were a little bit quiet as well, like Nuffo and Luciano. But hopefully, another good game match up this week against the Sharks, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, fucking hell. Wasn't this a massacre?
And this is where Benny just can tune out for a bit. Look, what do you say? I mean, 56-10, obviously the Eagles there, and the scores just really talk for themselves. Ruben Garrick with 199 points, Tommy Turbo with 179. Bogues, I've got to bring out the stat lines. Look, it was over 15 minutes, I think, 15, 20 minutes. It was all said and done. I wasn't too sure. I wasn't entirely sure how this one was going to go down. I did think that maybe Para might show up and put a bit of a contest up, but they didn't, and they got absolutely annihilated. They're on a massive fall from grace at the moment. They're lucky they play the Cowboys, I think it is this week, who knows what will happen with that. At the moment, I think they're looking like possibly missing the top 4 as well. After that hammering, and the confidence would be an all-time low. But just want to bring up the stat line of a couple of these Manly boys, but in particular Tommy, because it was absolutely disgusting. So he ended up with a try, 4 try assists, 2 line breaks. I think that's 4 line break assists, Bogues.
Yeah.
So 1 try, 4 try assists, 4 line break assists, 2 line breaks of his own. Plenty of tackle busts, plenty of runs, just in everything. Garrick ended up with 3 tries, a try assist. He kicked 8 goals. So he kicked 8 from 10. Again, plenty of line breaks for Garrick, so 60 points just in line breaks. Just heavy scoring. Daly Cherry Evans was very good. Like when they're beating teams like this, like these guys like Garrick, Turbo, Saab, Cherry, just absolute flat track bullies. Not even flat track bullies. Like Parramatta are not a shit football side, but they got absolutely annihilated in this one. What do you say about Tommy? 1.164 million. You know, unbelievable. What's his break even at now? Like he's got 140 average for the season or whatever it is. He's going to start next year over $1 million, much like Nathan Cleary. What's the break even of young Turbo this week? Can we get it up there? I can't see it right in front of me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's on an absolute monster run, and 3 weeks to go. Looking really good. Bogues, have you been watching much footy lately?
No, I watched a little bit of the Storm Raiders because that was while we were streaming last week. But no, apart from that, man, I've just been hiding in my house and playing video games. I will address Ados's comment though when you're done with this game. But anyway,
I was going to ask you, do you think, just based on the form of Tommy Turbo, there's a lot of people out there, comparing it to Jared Hayne 09 and Ben Barber 2012 runs like that.
Let's just hope it doesn't end up like Jared Hayne.
Yeah, well, that's the narrative, isn't it? But I've never seen anything like this. I know there's been some rule changes and there's plenty of records getting broken this year. Try scoring, attacking, meters, whatever it is, it's happening all across the league. But I have never seen anyone playing like Tom Trbojevic is playing at the moment. Do you think Manly can win the comp with the form that Turbo's in? Is he good enough that they can go all the way and beat some of these teams that have been performing at an elite level, like Melbourne and Penrith, South at times, probably lesser. But do you think they can genuinely win the comp?
No. I don't think a one-man team, which is what Manly essentially are gonna beat the Storm or even the Rabbitohs. I think if the season's forms to go on, and maybe I'm a bit biased being a South supporter, it really should be a Storm Rabbitohs final, unless a full strength Panthers starts to fire coming into the finals, then it probably should be Panthers and Storm. But who fucking knows with rugby league these days? Anyone in the 8 could come along and sneak it.
I mean, it's obviously provided Turbo stays fit, and we obviously heard, coming out of that game, he had a fractured cheekbone, jaw.
He's all good, though,
which has now been confirmed wasn't actually the case, and it's touch and go whether he'll play this week, but looks like he'll be sweet, for next week. But, I don't even think it's just Turbo. You got Cherry Evans, who's in a bit of form there. You got Schuster, obviously, who's a superb young footy player. Foran's been probably the one that hasn't got any credit. He's joined the side and just steers them around, just quietly gets them where they need to go, gives the ball to the right guys, but doesn't do anything amazing, just doing the quiet work that's important in the footy side. And even Croker at dummy half's been quite good. So, I mean, I think they can. And then obviously when they're playing the way they are, they're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. So, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how these finals play out, and I think they could do it. Obviously, the form of Tommy, they showed it against the Storm that they can beat the Storm, and I think they had plenty of turnovers and not a great balance of possession in that game. So, really keen to see how the 2021 Premiership unravels, mate. So, anyway, back to the Supercoach. It was top scorer for Parra was 49. Obviously, not much doing in a team that's standing under the post for as long as they did. Even IPAP was broken. I don't even know how many minutes he played. He played in the front row, which wasn't amazing. I just want to double check how BA's broken everyone. IPAP's minutes were probably not unreal in the front row there, unless he was just spending a lot of time under the post, as I said. Asaya, what are you getting into? So he's still, that's still on turbo. Yeah, just the 55 minutes, which is a bit of a concern. So, I mean, not as you can do at this point of the year, but hopefully that doesn't happen again this week. But he's been named in the front row again, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, Maddo obviously coming out of this one, he'll miss the rest of the season. Bogues, I don't know if you saw that one. He put an absolute stonker of a shot on young, what's his name, Brad Parker. So I think 3 weeks for Maddo, so he'll miss until finals. But yeah, pretty. Gutho was very MIA. Moses as well. Just those players, they're probably paying big money if Gutho wants to earn 1 point whatever
I was going to
million a
say,
year.
if Gutho's arguing over fucking paychecks at the moment, he's not showing he's worth it.
So that was the Saturday night. We'll move on from this. Benny's probably tuned out for a bit.
Yeah. Just on ADOS made the comment back there that it's Holbrook that's fucking the Titans. I don't really give a shit who's fucking the Titans as long as the Titans are fucked. So if it's Holbrook, I hope they fucking give him coach for life. That being said, I don't think the fucking Gold Coast should even be in the competition. The Gold Coast Giants, the Gold Coast Seagulls, the Gold Coast Chargers. How many fucking failed fucking shithouse Gold Coast teams do we need before you have teams actually playing out of areas that rugby league is popular? But anyways, I could rant about the fucking Titans forever. So we'll move on to the next game.
It might be a show on itself. On the Sunday afternoon, the first game was the Warriors against the Dogs again. One I was probably thinking maybe the Warriors would do a bit of damage in this one, but I think they started really well, and I think it was maybe 12. It was pretty close at the end of the first half there, but the Warriors did enough in the end. It was Joshy Curran just unreal. I think he was on like 70 or 80 after about 10 minutes. A couple of line breaks, set one up. 139 there, so absolutely monstrous for him. He was a guy that a lot of people brought in for the round 17 bye, and then he ended up not playing because of COVID, and then you probably got off him. But anyone that held him was just absolutely rewarded in spades at this point. I'm steaming because I had him and then fucked him off after that round 17 thing that happened. Tavanga was good, probably his best game of the season off the top of my head with a 92. Scored a try, but was real busy in the middle there. Reece Walsh, 75, pretty solid. Aiken also on a tear since moving into the back row. He's scoring unreal, so he's a real good pod to finish the year. I think Aiken in the centre wing. AFB was solid as well. This Cozy looked real good too, Bogues. He looks like a prop playing on the wing, but he's a big monster of a thing. But yeah, just a pretty decent performance across the park from the Warriors, I think. Dog side of the park, Young Shoop was the top scorer with 90. I don't know if I said it last week, but I'm a big fan of Shoop. I don't know if he'll keep his spot, or not last week whenever I was on last. I don't know if he keeps his spot next year with a few of the guys that got going there, but I think he looks really good. His base is amazing. Go and have a look at his base stats on NRL Supercoach stats. He gets in, he busts tackles, takes heaps of runs, makes he's in everything. He's exactly what you want out of a centre for Supercoach.
He's a marketing dream. They just play the Salt and Pepper song, Super Doop, and
I don't even know what that. I don't
you
know
don't
what
know
that
that
reference is.
Fuck, you're even too young for that reference.
But nothing. That one went straight over
Salt
my
and
head.
Pepper had a hit song in the 90s called Shoop. You can listen to it on your Spotify or Tidal or whatever your fucking fancy music streaming app is, and then you'll get the joke.
There you go. Anyway, he's unreal. His base has been, for the last 6 weeks, has been 41, 36, 34, 40, 35, 40, which for a centre is insane. Like it's as good as any centre in the game for Supercoach for base. So anyway, he 90 top scored for them. And was looking very good. Obviously, we had Jackson doing all the work there. They had Ryan James and Horsburgh transferred during the week, so he I thought Jackson might have been a bit damaged by that, but obviously he wasn't. I think James looked pretty good while he was out there. Horsburgh as well, but I think now CHN's back. I thought they might pull one of them back by now, but anyway, yeah. Look, Interesting game for the first game on the Sunday. And to round it off,
now
it
now
was...
we know why Josh King hasn't shown up.
Fuck, I was just glad we didn't have to bear losing a game like that, because we dead set should have lost. I don't know how Newcastle won this one. 16-14, as I said, the Knights... tell me how we won this game. I've got no idea. We were bloody woeful. 16-14, one of the hardest games I've watched in a long time. Typical Newey, just, you turn it on.
What have the Sharks just decided that's it? Like, they're doing what I'm doing with my Supercoach team, which went, yeah, we'll just see out the rest of the season, and next season we'll do better.
I don't know. They definitely should have fucking won this game. I still don't know how the fuck we've won this one. Anyway, Ramian top score with a 90, so that was really good. He's pretty popular, young Jesse Ramian. What else? What else is in there? Talakai was pretty quiet with a 44. But yeah, Ponga's probably the one that stung a few. Obviously, I was saying there, 36 from KP. Plenty of people like Newey's run home, and KP has not really delivered the goods just yet. He would have been a pretty big money purchase, I guess, and a fair pod compared to guys like Mitchell and obviously Tedesco. Most people would have Turbo, and now Pap's back. You know, he hasn't delivered, and especially in a game like this on the Sunday afternoon, there was probably a few people hoping he could turn up or better to really finish off the week strong, but he didn't. I don't know if he's still busted. I really don't know what's going on. I feel like he must still be just carrying something because he isn't as involved, but I don't know if it's just them trying to get used to the style of play or what, but it wasn't pretty. Yeah, Barnett was pretty good. Clem top score with a 73. That's been a bit of a bounce back, and Best as well looked pretty good. So glad I ran out of trades and I held on to him, because I wish I would have traded him out weeks ago if I had any trades left. That's probably about it. Obviously, coming out of this one for Zell, I think we'll miss a week, which is pretty big. It was a pretty nice pod, and I think Andrew Fafita fractured his larynx and is in a induced coma as we speak, which is pretty...
I heard that they were bringing him out of it. So...
yeah, all the best to Andrew and his family. But yeah, it looked like pretty innocuous. Saw some of the footage, not much doing, but yeah, hopefully he's all good from that. Young Andrew. And that was round 22. Dang. Round 22 done and dusted. We move ahead to round 23, folks?
Yep.
All right. So a few, again, as I said, a few probably interesting ones this week with the team list. Plenty happening. And we start off with Melbourne taking on the Titans, and the first, I think, cab off the rank, which is a bit of an interesting one, Bogues, was Brimson has got a fractured jaw line or something like that. Fractured jaw, hairline fracture in his jaw or something. So he'll be gone for the next 3 weeks, I think. So basically what Turbo was believed to have. So young Jaden Campbell fills in at the back there for him. Andrew Feeder's back in that starting side, which is good.
David, but yeah.
David, sorry, got Andrew on my mind after that last little bit.
Yeah, I don't think Andrew Fafita will be playing this week. It'd be a fucking miraculous recovery if he did.
Starting in the back row there for them. Fogarty comes back in as well. So Sexton, I think, had been quite good. A bit rough after last week because they did get pumped. But Fogarty's got his spot back, which, you know, whether that's good or bad, I thought maybe Ash Taylor would fall out because Sexton looked really good. But anyway, Fogarty is back in there. And as I said, David Fafita named to start. We'll see if that holds true. On the Storm side of the park, though, Ryan Papenhausen is back to name at fullback, first game starting. Yep. So, yeah, he is on the radar. I think there'll be plenty looking at Pap this week now. I think he probably... Just have a quick squeeze. I think he's probably bottomed out. He's pretty right. You know, if you're someone that owns a Ponga, let me just bring young Paps up. It could be a time to go on Pap. They're playing the Titans on the Friday night. If Turbo ends up not playing, he's probably going to be a decent VC option. We might, if you're short on players, you're going to get a free look. At the moment, Pap's just bring him up while we're talking. Come on, Pappen. Only 9% owned, so that'd probably increase in 420k, 100 break even. So I think now's the time to go on Pap if you got him. If you're targeting him, you got to go now, I reckon. And that's a stellar buy at 430k. Might be some people jumping off Ponga as well. George Jennings back in the side. Obviously, Jerome Hughes is another big one. Bogues. He was very highly owned.
He had his head fucking knocked off. Poor fucker.
He's still in Goo land from that hit from CHN. So whilst the negative for Hughes owners and 30% of teams currently own him at this point in time, a positive for Hines owners as Hines will slide into the 7 there. So I expect Hines will probably do that pretty seamlessly and probably scores pretty well against this Titans side.
He's probably keen to prove himself in that half position.
For sure. In preparation for the switch next year. Harry Grant returns to the starting side. So Brennan Smith's been given the week off, so that's big for Grant owners. Anyone that has him, he'd be a massive pot as well. I would have thought Grant is owned by 10%. So, he's more owned than Ponga and has owned more than Pap as well at this point. So, that's big for Grant at this point of the year going against the Titans. This could be a big score for him and maybe a free VC. This week for anyone that has Grant. But that's probably about it. All that I can see in this one, probably relevance at the moment, Bogues.
Yeah, Storm will do 50 points on him.
Yeah, I think the Storm will give it to him. And on the Friday, the first game will be the Raiders versus Seagulls, 6 o'clock. And at this point in time, Tommy Turbo has been named. That's probably the biggest speculation in this one. He has been named. There's plenty of media, reports going out about him having a broken jaw, and then it's come out that he didn't. And he's been speaking to Des about playing. We'll see what happens. I think the beauty about this one is it is the first game on the Friday. So if it turns out he's not playing, hopefully, unless you've got Pap in there at fullback, you'll be able to switch him out. If you're going to VC him or see him, you'll be able to do something there. So it could have been a lot worse if it was one of the last games in the round. So keep an eye out on around 5 o'clock on Friday for the confirmation of final team lists. The word is apparently he won't play. So whilst he's been named, there's apparently a bit won't back up. But we'll wait and see. I think the beauty, as I said, of this one is that it's the early game. So everyone will know by 5 o'clock on Friday. Just keep an eye on that. If that does happen, I guess it makes it pretty interesting in relation to someone like Garrick and Saab, who I imagine Garrick will go back to fullback, and then all of a sudden it might be, do you play guys like Saab and stuff? So it'll be really interesting and a big, probably plenty of teams waiting on that team list at 5 for that one. Schuster's been still really good. Jakey Trebojevic is not really doing much, but Schuster's been good. Cherry's been good. So I think if Turbo plays, there could be some big points in this one for the Eagles. But if he doesn't, I think the Raiders rolled him not too long ago without Turbo. So I think they're missing Cherry as well. So if Turbo doesn't back up, they'll need Cherry to step it up. On the Raiders side of the park, Rapana's back to fullback. CNK hasn't made the team list. Has he? No, he's on the bench. Sorry, he's on the 14 there. So we'll see what happens there with CNK. His first game back for a long time. Whether there's a late switch there and he comes into the starting side, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, CHN's going to be missing for a while now, so Hudson Young's got that edge spot, which, whether he's still available in some drafts or something like that, but, classic-wise, you're probably not really looking at any of these guys in this Raiders side to bring in at this point of the year. Maybe you still got Simonson in your, on your reserves in your centre wing or whatever. Maybe you brought Rapana in a couple of weeks ago, but I wouldn't be looking to bring any of them in at this point of the year, obviously. But, it's all riding on whether Big Tommy plays in this game. So we'll have to wait and see. The second game, I guess the first 3 games of the round really Supercoach relevant with Melbourne, Manly, and then this one will be Penrith taking on South. So, it'd be a blockbuster game of the round. Obviously, 2 teams Penrith probably trying to find a little bit more of that form that they've had in the past, but the Rabbitohs in some heavy form. So it'll be second, third, and the winner of this will, go into second place outright on points. So both on 38 competition points there.
Well, it should be a fucking cracker, and it's probably the test that both teams need at this stage of the season, just to see where their form is sitting coming into the finals.
Well, yeah, I think as you said it, Bogues, it should be a cracker. Really looking forward to this one. I think, we've got TPJ and JFH in that extended bench, so it'll be interesting to see whether they make their way into the side. I think that's Penrith's best 1 to 7. I think, getting rid of Staines, not in there. They got Momrovsky and Naden. I think that's their best 1 to 7 that they should be running with personally. And obviously, yeah, you look at that Rabbitohs 1 to 7, and they'll be one of the form teams of the comp. Alex Johnson is back, so I imagine he'll swing back out on his left side, and Mansour will switch over to the right. Campbell Graham is also back. It's a really big Supercoach game when you think Cody Walker and Latrell have been really solid the last few weeks, and good VCC options off Turbo, but I guess it's not an ideal matchup, so it'd be interesting even for Cleary to see how he goes in this one. So not the best matchup for some teams, but we'll have to wait and see how this game turns out for some of that.
So if you're in Brisbane, get along to that one. So you're probably only chance to see some decent footy this year.
Well, all the games. So, I imagine this will be one of the last few games of the year to finish the year in terms of the finals as well. I'd imagine these two teams might be close enough. So it could be a bit of a dogfight. We'll have to wait and see. Which could be good for the Pigs in the middle. That might be good. Coruscant's back, Cookie in there, so there might be a bit of work in there for some forwards. But ideally, I guess there's plenty of people with JFH and TPJ that'll be hoping they'll swing in there late to be late inclusions, but just keep an eye out on team lists. But not sure how high scoring this is going to be. And yeah, I also agree. I don't know if the Supercoach scores will be great in this one. We'll just have to see.
That being said, you don't know. Like, if one of these teams cracks the other open early, it could blow out. Like the strike power is there, so we'll see what happens.
They're definitely both teams that have points in them. Penrith have been a bit more of a defensive-oriented side, but they haven't been amazing of late, to be honest. So, it could be a shootout. It could be a 30 to 20 sort of game, but I guess we'll wait and see. I'm expecting this to be a really good game of footy, though. So, hopefully the conditions also support that. I don't know if there's any rain around or anything either. Up there, one of us Queenslanders, give us a heads up. First game on the Saturday, be up at Rocky. Tigers taking on the Sharks, a pretty Supercoach.
I've got a brother that lives near Rockhampton, and he was all excited about the games going up there the other week, and they cancelled it because of COVID shit. And then I saw this game was in Rockhampton, and I thought, you poor fucker, waiting for a game to come up there, and you get the fucking Sharks versus the Tigers. You poor fucker. So
yep. Should be a Supercoach friendly game though. Tigers good matchup against the Sharks, and plenty of people with some of these, like at least Jesse Ramian. I got Talakai, so hopefully Tej Wilton fucks off. I don't know what's doing there with him on the bench. But on the Tigers side of the park, you got Luciano, Adam Dewey, plenty of people with Nofo. So hoping there'll be some points in this one, but I'm not finding any value anywhere else at this point. Again, trades are pretty optimal at a low. I wouldn't be finding trades for many of these guys. Maybe a Ramian, maybe someone like Lucci as a fair pod. But Adam Dewey, to be fair, if Turbo's out or something, there might be some people that look to go to Dewey, possibly. I don't know. If Turbo's going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks, I think Dewey definitely. But we'll have to wait and see. I think this could be a really Supercoach friendly game. Could be some points in this one. And the second game on the Saturday is the Dogs taking on Newcastle. My boys, Seabus up on the Gold Coast. So again, Newey been pretty disappointing, but this is the kind of game where they put in a really shit performance one week and then they rock up in a game like this and put in a really good performance. So we'll wait and see what happens. Obviously, KP, Best, Barnett, if you've got him, Connor Watson maybe. If you've got him still, you'd be looking at playing him in this one. The Dogs welcome back Flanagan, which is interesting. That Benaboo or whatever is Beyondu Odo was found out big time on that left edge for the Dogs last week against the Warriors. They ran all over him. So if Flanagan was a bad defender, this don't worry.
Sorry, JP just made a pun in the chat. I'm timing him out for that. You're being timed out.
That's good. Hey, give him admin rights after that. That was a cracker. Love it. Oh, you actually did.
Oh. 300 seconds
for
a joke like that. Then I'll give you a ranch when you come back.
I'm not a advocate for that sort of thing, JP. I love it, mate. Keep it coming. Lukey Thompson's back, which is a big in for anyone that had Lukey. If you still held him, obviously he was one of the big bookends in the front row this year, doing a good job with the duality. So if you held on to him, you're welcome him back. Tapine is at 9. He looks really good there. But again, I just don't think at this point of the year you're going to be using any trades to bring these guys in. Like in draft, guys like Jacko and maybe pick up Tapine in the bracket, possibly. There's some solid draft pickups there, but yeah, classic wise, you wouldn't be looking at them. Like I said, Shook has been unreal. But yeah, like you said, you might be looking at playing guys like Pearce. Definitely Pong's out if you want to risk it for the biscuit. There's an option there. But we'll wait and see what happens because, again, Newcastle just so disappointing. The third game on the Saturday will be the Eels looking to bounce back against the Cows, Bogues.
Yeah, yeah. Good game on Friday. The rest have been pretty fucking terrible.
Well, I mean, realistically, all those games on the Saturday aren't anything special. I mean, there's a bit of a contest for the last couple of spots in the 8, which a couple of these games will be interesting playing into that. But, yeah, Parramatta really need to bounce back and find a bit of confidence if they're going to... I don't think they're going to do anything in the finals, but they really need to find something. Brian Madison won't play again before the finals, so he's copped his 3 weeks. Opachech and Oldfield have been dumped as well, so Will Penasini and Hayes Dunster come back into the side. We're just looking here on the Cows side of the park. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Lolo's on the extended bench. Tabadai Fido. The Hammer's also on the extended bench. Holmes is back at fullback. Holmes is probably the only one I could probably endorse as a pickup at this point. Well, Holmes at centre wing maybe is a guy you could look at, but maybe there'll be some people out there with Gutho and I don't know if they have Moses and Parramatta's run. This is the last good game of the year for them. Supercoach wise, probably any of the Parramatta players are going to be really playable in, at least in those attacking positions. IPAP's obviously always going to be a play, but yeah, it's Parramatta really need to put in a good performance here, but we'll see what happens. Cowboys sort of show up every now and then as well. First game on the Sunday, it will be at Clive Berghofer Stadium in Toowoomba. It'll be the Dragons taking on the Roosters. Matt Duffy comes back in there, so Jack Bird slides back into the centres. Talatau Amone has earned a start as well, so he's looking good. Josh Maguire moves into hooker for McCulloch, who's going to be missing for a while with an ankle issue. Yeah, really looking forward to see how young Amone goes with the starting 6 in this one. On the Chook side of the park, all the regulars, I guess, are there. Plenty of people will be maybe, if, as I said, it all depends on what happens with Turbo. Looking at Teddy as a captaincy option, possibly late in the weekend. I myself looking at guys like Sammy Walker, Satili, Tupu. Hopefully they can find some points out there. But Roosters haven't been great for the last couple of months, really. So I'm not expecting cricket scores from them. You might get some individual brilliance from Jimmy Tedesco, but they haven't been belting teams by any stretch of the imagination. Apart from probably Newcastle. Newcastle is a different story though. But yeah, Manu back into the standards. Cobley looked pretty good last week as well. Takiaho looked pretty good as well, but again, I just can't find trades for some of those guys now. It's just really hard. If you've only got a couple of trades, I wouldn't be recommending that you bring in Takiaho or something like that. So, yeah, let's hope for a cricket score though, because I've got plenty of those Chooks boys. I'll be happy if they can somehow put 40 on them. And to round us off, it'll be Brisbane taking on the Warriors at Suncorp at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. And just looking at that Brisbane side, Papenhausen stands out. You know, not much else doing at this point. On the Warriors side of the park, you know, Reece Walsh is probably someone you could have picked up a couple of weeks ago, super pod for the run home. If Turbo's out, there might be some people that jump on Reece Walsh and look for a sneaky C on him in this game. You've got AFB playing well still. Obviously, Josh Curran's playing well. Aitken's playing well. So plenty of options in there. I think Aitken's a valid trade if you've only got a couple of trades left. I think if you needed to, or you could maybe go like a Gus or a Maddo to Aitken via Jules. I think it's a really good trade at this point of the year. Aiken's just killing it, and to get that sort of output at centre wing at the moment, it's all base. And if he finds a try or finds some attacking stats, he quickly can, pump out a ton. Old Aitken, if not more. So, yeah, that's probably about it, Bogues. Like, pretty quick run through there, but getting to the point where when trades are coming at such a premium, there's plenty of guys you could talk about, but not guys I'd recommend to waste your last couple trades on.
All right. On to the leagues. So, for the week in the group, there is no one else. Kurt, he top scored with 1690. Some of these fucking scores are ridiculous. Taco of Darkness, Julian, with a 1661. Brendan with Thurston's Crew with a 1610. Green-Eyed Monster, Ivan, with a 1607. And he was equal with Chumps, Mark, with a 1607 as well.
I think our top scorer in the group was Shandy, who's in the chat. So shout out Shandy. Big score there. Well done.
Alrighty.
And was third last week or a couple of weeks ago or something. So good scoring. That's an absolute monster. That would have been a weekly, surely. That would have been up there for a weekly, surely. Did you look into that, Bogan? Any intel?
What's that?
Was our top weekly one of the top scores for the week?
No
like
idea.
In general?
No idea.
Gee, 1690 is a big score. That's got to be up there, doesn't it? Yeah, let me just have a quick squeeze because that's even with a double shout out for the Shandy.
Shandy, did you get the KFC? What is it? The KFC voucher? Is it a KO voucher or whatever it is for winning week?
Ranking. Oh no, fucking hell! 1690 was fucking nowhere near it. Holy dooly!
What was the top score for the week?
That was like just top 40, I think, or top 50. No, not even. Jesus Christ, that was a heavy week.
Nice.
1758. 69th. Beautiful. Oh, there you go, Shandy. I didn't actually even realise that you're in that comp. I'm getting hammered in that as well. So, yeah, 1758, Bogues was the top score, so 60 points off, but still absolute monster.
So
1690, I'd take that every day.
In the overall, still got the Brad.
Oh, shut up, Clem. Shut up, Clem. It was fucking 1758. Get your fucking facts straight, huh? Shut up, Clem.
We've got Brad with the bottom dollar rookies. He's sitting 39th overall. Brendan with Smick Richards. He's sitting in 47th. Jason with Avalon Storm. He's sitting in 51st. Then there's a bit of a gap. Better than standout Alex. He's sitting in 185th overall. And Jimbo James is sitting in 269th overall. So pretty similar to last week. I think the group's starting to level out. It'll be interesting to see with a couple of weeks to go whether who will take the group. The all-in, it was the first week of finals, and Clemmy got over Humdinger. Got over Humdinger. So Clemmy's got the week off. Dean with Agony of Defeat. He was one of our winners last year, wasn't he? Or one of our finalists last year. He got up over Polly's Pocket Rockets. So see you later, Polly's Pocket Rockets. Sambo with Hard Picks. He got up over P-Top Kevin Bottom. So thanks for playing this year again, PTKB. And Red Nose Dearden got up over Extra Reckless. So John with Red Nose Dearden. Thanks for playing, Alex. So Alex got up. Sorry. So he's got the week off, and Red Nose Dearden stays safe for another week. So that was the all-in.
Is this the winner of this will get us an invite to the draft next year,
the grand finalists of this get an invite to the draft. That's true.
Both the grand finalists. So it'd be good to see Clemmy get in there as well. Clemmy, come on, mate, get in there. It'd be good to have you in the draft, champion.
Much, Breno?
I don't give a fuck.
Who's JP in here anyway?
Is he saying perpetual motion? I thought he was in the group everywhere.
He was in the group for
every
a while.
week. He was popping up in the group a fair bit, pretty well ranked as well from memory and from most of the year.
As I said last week with the show with Josh, we'll probably be changing up the invitational next year, which means a few people have to drop out, unfortunately.
548 overall for JP. If JP, that's you, I imagine it is Jimmy. You're doing unreal, mate. 548 overall. Keep it up. We'll have to get you in a league next year as well. I don't think we got him in any. I don't think he's in the invitation, is he?
Don't think so. So, in the invitational, Bundy, he went down to Mana, so Mana gets a week off. Leanne got up over the Farkin Cowboys. So it is Bundy versus Leanne next week. Ados got up over Benny. So Ados gets a week off. And Benny will play Dr. Kane Anderson.
Some great matchups
and we
in there.
are
Candos
looking at a
Benny.
potential Ados Kane Anderson grand final.
Well, that'd be one for the ages.
Well, considering the plan was for the grand final week, which would be the second last week, to have you, Josh King, Kane Anderson, and Ados, the four horsemen, for the grand final special. Yet to organise it, so I don't know if Kane and Ados are available, or even King for that matter. But
fuck, that's the first I've heard of it as well. It sounds good.
Josh, you were talking about it last week. We thought that would be a good way to wrap up the season. Is have the four reviews on, and it would be extra special if we were facing down a Living to Vida Loca and Dr. Kando grand final.
Agreed. I think, there's a little bit way to go there. Benny will have a say in that. Marna will have a say in that, but we'll have to wait and see. Probably Bundy as well.
Even Leanne. It's a star-studded setup. Anyone could take it in the Invitational.
The who's who of BJ on game day,
except for any of the fucking hosts.
It's not about us.
Speaking of not us, We've got our first grand finalist sorted out in the BJ on Game Day Championship draft. So
Oh,
Wayno with Hell's
good.
Grannies, and he will be up against Call Me Big Puppy or Livin' Tavita Loca Ados again for the BJ on Game Day
Did you
Championship.
did you see what happened with the fixtures though, Bogan?
No, I didn't.
Did you actually see what happened on the weekend? So Mana and Ados tied on
Yes,
732
they did, but
each.
because Ados placed higher on the ladder, he goes through.
I know, but I was just sort of pointing out that what are the odds would be of that of a draw in general, but a draw on a knockout
Yeah.
week, for a grand final qualifier. Commiserations to Mana. I think he got knocked out at a similar point last year in the draft as well. So he's fallen short again, Paul Mana, and that's probably a rough pill to swallow, the old draw and then lose on your placing. But so Ados will maybe that's the blessing that had a bit of luck that he needed to take it out. But great to see Wayno move straight through. I think he sort of limped into the finals with a couple of weeks to go. I was sort of competing with him for one of the spots, and he's gone through in a big way. It'd be great to see old Wayno up there.
Big score for the week too, so he is primed for that championship ring. Have you got it there, Breno?
I don't have it within a reach, but I'll make sure I have it out next week.
That's the prize. That is the prize.
Big game this week though. Big Pappy's got Turbo in there, so I mean that's going to be massive. Whether Turbo plays or not in that one will be obviously against Canberra. Could be a big difference this week. So Ados probably hoping Turbo's out.
How do you think you'll go, Ados? You're in the chat.
Ados has a good side though, so I'm not doubting his side. It's more just that Turbo can do anything. So I think it'd be a good game. He's got Hines. Tavita Loca's got Hines, Grant, Dewey, IPAP, Aiken. He's got a very good side. So that said, so does Tomo with Schuster, Turbo. If Turbo plays, that's going to be the big one. Munster, he's going to be missing Frizzell. He's missing Olam as well. So yeah, look, there'll be a few boys having to reach in the free agencies this week, I reckon, but should be a good matchup. Looking forward to watching that one.
Reckons Turbo in and he's in trouble.
Yeah, that's what if Turbo is in, it will be a very different matchup. But if he's not, it'll be I reckon Ados.
Yeah. Alrighty. You there, Brennan?
Beautiful.
Right.
I am.
I didn't know whether you were being your stoic self or you're just frozen up for a second. It's hard to tell sometimes.
Shout out as well. Got a shout out to, as always, this bloke's absolutely flying at the moment, Bogues. He's one of the guys who is in the Turbo Hammies Cup, and he's currently coming number one overall in the All Supercoach. A shout out to Timmy Moody, the Villi Army, currently sitting in first. Leads by 250 odd points, Bogues, with 3 weeks to go. The bloke in second made up about 150 on him this week, but that bloke had to score near 1,600 to do that.
Have we already fulfilled the conditions of Turbo's Hammies Cup? Because I thought that the idea was whoever the other shows have to shout out the winner of the Turbo's Hammies Cup. We've done it fucking 3 weeks in a row now. We're barracking this guy right into the fucking post. I think we've already fulfilled that condition that I didn't agree to.
Look, he's been leading for a long time and has been leading well, so hopefully he can hold on. He's built quite a lead. I think he's looking good, but yeah, big nervous 3 weeks coming up for Timmy, but all the best to him.
And shout out to Kane Anderson, the illustrious creator of the Turbo's Hammies Cup. He created it all on his own with no help from anyone who could be in the chat. So well done, Kane.
There you go. I'll leave that one alone.
Winner gets a guest appearance. Oh, we're happy to have anyone on. So, because that was the other thing too. I was gonna say, Climmy, if you're in the chat and Josh King can't make it for the Four Horsemen, we'll get Climmy in instead if he's available.
get Clemmy on whenever. I wouldn't mind having a chat with Clemmy as well. He's done a good job. Last couple of things I've watched that he was on, so Clemmy more than welcome, as is anyone. Shout out to me in the UFS Bogan. There's a bloke running a ultimate fantasy sports draft competition across 20 leagues. I have qualified for the grand final of that.
How does that work? What is it like?
So he's a bloke that's just running something off his own back. He's run 20 leagues. He's got a page set up and created some rankings based on some various factors I'm not totally aware of. But
several sports, so it's like the EPL.
No, it's just a NRL fantasy thing. So he ran 20 leagues. He was going to give $100 to the winner of each league, which I'm not really interested in that. Just prefer to win it. But he, has done something pretty cool, and I think he's got some ideas of that moving forward. But I have qualified for the grand final of UFS 3, so just give myself a plug for that because I'm fucking fucked in everything else in Classic. So I've got to,
how'd you
put a bit of. I got turbo in that.
G'day, Jeff.
So.
That's interesting.
Hey Jeff, how are you, mate? Welcome. If you, I don't know if you've been here before, but welcome.
Mana's elusive. You got to catch him in the right mood, Ados. We've tried to get Big Ted as well, and weren't able to get him.
Well, that's contentious as well, Bogan.
Well, yeah, let's not go too much into that.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. I haven't had trades for 3 weeks, so I've got no trades to burn.
I'm done. I didn't even look at my team. I was lucky. I just had Turbo as captain the last time I played, and it's just carried over. So. Oh, what a great show! Glad you guys tuned in for the expert Supercoach tips from the guys who have no fucking trades left. No wonder we've went down in the viewership.
That reminds me as well, actually, I jumped on Ados's show on Sunday evening, so make sure you go check out Adrianosaurus Rex on SoundCloud.
Brent Hampton.
Yeah, I jumped on Sunday evening with Ados, so we had a bit of a laugh. It was a good time with Ados. So go and give him a listen and go check out what he's doing because it's good fun with Ados. But that's probably about it, Jeff. I don't know what's going on with Penguin, mate. He's in the extended bench. You'll have to wait and see. Make sure you keep an eye on those team lists, but there might be a mail floating around a bit earlier. But worst case, you'll know by sort of 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock on Friday evening. You might just have a quick look around at 7 o'clock, mate. But yeah, that's about it, Bogs.
Alrighty. Well, like, rate, subscribe, all the YouTube bullshit. I think we've shouted out everyone. Adrianosaurus Rex on SoundCloud and Spotify. Turbo's Hammy's Cup on Facebook. Check out all the shows on that. Fuck the Titans, bring back the Bears. I think we've covered all the regular shit. So
sounds good, and thanks as always, Bogan. Love your work. Couldn't do it without you, and we'll catch you all next week.